Hello, guys. Looks like we are live. Can you hear us? Matt, you ready to rock and roll? Hello,
Yes, I
my
can hear you,
friend.
Bobby. Hello, everybody. I hope you are very well. Here we are on our first episode, Bobby. How are you? What's going on in Singapore?
Oh, well, it's about 6:30 or 6:42 a.m. in the morning here on Friday the 28th, and how about you? It's morning for you, but 3 hours ahead of me, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's Friday morning here in Melbourne.
Yeah, we got, I think we're on a
Yes.
20-second delay now from what the audience is seeing what we're doing here. So, yeah, let's just rock and roll. But welcome to the episode 2 of what we call BAM. Bobby and Matt, we did an episode on your channel, I think it was about a week ago. Our first kind of episode. That was kind of like getting the waters tested. We're trying a little eCam action here. So there may be some technical hiccups along the way. Designed a lot of this last night and over the last couple of days. So we'll see how this all flies. But we're excited to do this. Been a huge week, Matt. Absolutely huge week.
Epic. I mean, where do we start? We've got Lumix up to amazing stuff. We've got Sigma going crazy. We've got DJI releasing new gimbals, Sony releasing lenses. There's so much going on, but I suppose we wanted to start with the Lumix because this is a big product category, isn't it, Bobby?
It is. It is a very big product, actually, Matt. And we're going to jump over here to the website here so we can talk a little bit about that right now. But this was a camera, I think, one of the most anticipated cameras, I think, of 2025 thus far when we look at it in terms of, all the rumor mills, what it was Lumix going to come out with. Obviously, the S5 2X has been a huge hit. The S9 also as well. And I think, obviously, last year with the S9 launch in Japan, there was a lot of internet craziness going along, especially on the YouTube space about creators being flown out there and stuff like that. And I mean, but you know what? At the end of the day, Lumix won because the S9 is doing quite well from what I understand, and especially here in Singapore where, Panasonic doesn't have a big market, but the Lumix S9 is really making an impact here. So yeah, we are here with the S1R II. This is going to be what they're calling it, the ultimate hybrid. They're in their mindset, right? 44 megapixel, 8K video recording, got open gate as well.
Yeah, and best IBIS in class, I would say. And what's interesting to me is this is a camera that's arriving now in what I consider to be a pretty busy segment. We've got the Z7 II, we've got the Z8, we've got the Canon R5, the R5 II, Sony A1, A1 II, all in this 45. Well, this is 44.5, but we're going to call it 45 to 50 megapixel space. They can all do, except for the Z7, 8K video. These are powerful cameras. And of course, another thing that Lumix has done here is they're giving us this 40 frames per second in RAW. But interestingly, and this is something that it's 12-bit RAW. And I think we're all happy with that because it's still RAW. It's still a RAW file, but you get the speed. And I think people who want that sort of thing are happy with 12-bit and getting 40 frames per second. So it's a camera. It's a hell of a camera. I haven't used it yet, so I can't say too much about it. Your thoughts, Bobby? What do you feel about this new release from Lumix? Are they trying to take over the market? Like price point. Let's talk about the price point.
Price is insane, man. For what you're getting, I think, I mean, obviously the closest camera, I think price-wise would probably be the Nikon Z8 if you look at it. You know what I mean? In terms of where they're at. But I am very happy with what they brought out to the table. Because I mean, I have the S5 2X here, which I've been using. And for the past year, I got this secondhand and it's been a fantastic camera. And, I tried the S1R back in the days and the S1s and stuff. And they were great cameras, but bigger. And obviously they had, contrast-based systems in terms of the autofocusing, and they came at a premium during the marketplace. So it was a bit of a uphill battle for Lumix back in the day when you look at it. You know what I mean? Came at a premium. They had minimal lenses to the L-mount Alliance back when they launched was 2019 or 2018, 2019, thereabouts. So this camera though, man, I got to tell you, this might be near the top of my list of a camera to get because I love the LUTs coming out of this Lumix lab. I don't know if you ever tried that. That is fantastic, man. It's just absolutely awesome how it works. I love the phase detect autofocus for me is not bad at all. It works. You know what I mean? It can record video. You're not worried about it too much. I've taken it to the zoo. I've captured animals at the zoo with it. It works. People moving around. Now the 40 frames per second, as you mentioned, isn't like a high readout speed. So it's not going to be like a sports camera. But I mean, again, if you need a dedicated sports camera, you get a dedicated sports camera. You got to get the right tool for the job. And I think what they've created is a really good video photo hybrid for the majority of people out there. Now, can you get away with some sports with this? I'm sure you can. I mean, I think both of you and I, we don't have the cameras here to test, so we can't really necessarily say, but based on the reviews and, you know, the conversations I had with other people offline who've, you know, got a chance to try this or experience it, I mean, they're all very, very happy about it. But there is discussion out there. There is a little bit of drama, Matt, going on out there.
Drama? No
drama.
way. Not
yeah,
on
exactly.
YouTube. Doesn't exist, does it? Drama?
I know. It's called the rolling shutter drama. You know, everyone's saying that the rolling shutter on this camera is not that good, and you get wobble when you do these whips back and forth. And you know, it's
because that's how I shoot. You know, when I'm doing a drama. That's what we get a whip pan. You know, the last time I saw a whip pan was J.J. Abrams in the Star Trek reboot. I haven't seen one since then. People don't do it that often. Come on. Anyway.
I mean, I've been on film sets. I've acted in films. I've never been asked to do any sort of whips, anything like that. I'm not too sure. I find that this is really the big difference between YouTube reviews and real world reviews. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, I mean, like, okay, we do this, we're going to get a rolling shutter. It means the camera is not that great for this. Like, who the hell shoots this way? They don't. I just got done with a movie. I did an action movie. I didn't see the DP doing this at all. I've never seen it.
Think Stanley Kubrick. I reckon Kubrick never did a whip pan in his entire movie career. It didn't happen. And if somebody knows the scene, let us all know. And by the way, if you have any questions, please QQQ in the live chat, as well as give us a like to get the stream out there. I want to say thank you for everybody being here so far. What are we doing here? Just a quick aside, Bobby. What are we trying to achieve here with the BAM? What's going on?
You know, we thought you and I talked about this offline because we've been having a lot of conversations since we met here in Singapore last year, and just talking about having a conversation. You know, going out there and just chatting about products and talk and photography and videography and just creator stuff, and just having a place for people just to come out there and have a conversation and not worry about. It's not brand specific. It's not an allegiance to any brand or whatever the case may be. It's just two guys and a bunch of us, a community having fun talking and creating and helping each other out. And that's kind of what this is all about, in my opinion. What about you, Matt?
Oh, for sure. I mean, also, I think we recognize the fact that, you know, you and I, we both create a lot of videos. We put them out there. But of course, there's not this direct connection that you can have with live. And I love the idea that we can actually have a conversation. And Bobby and I, as we get better at this, because we're pretty new to it, you know, we want to involve more people and broaden the scope of the whole thing. So, you know, as much as it's a word that's used a lot, we kind of want to broaden the community from a real perspective. We're both freelancers, so we kind of know how hard it is to do this sort of thing regularly, but we're committed to it. So we're going to see how we go, aren't we, Bobby?
We are going to see how we go, Matt. We're going to see how we go. You know what I mean? We're going to create scenes and all this fun stuff, bring back the websites, all that great stuff. We're having some fun with this stuff.
Absolutely.
This is going to be fun. But going back to, let's go back to this camera for a second here. I mean, obviously, let's go through some of the website here and take a look at what we got going on here. Obviously, as you see right here through all this, I mean, just the specs out of this. You got 32-bit float recording with, of course, the adapter on this, real-time LUTs, as we talked about before. You know, high-res mode, handheld. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I can't wait to try that out.
What is it, 178 megapixel files? You can shoot handheld. I mean, that's how good the in-body image stabilization is in these Panasonic Lumix cameras. Both Bobby and I have the S5 2X, so we can actually talk about that from experience. And I'd love to try that out. Panasonic, if you're listening, send Bobby and I some units so we can experiment with them and tell the world how good your IBIS is, etc.
And that would
especially that hand, like to get almost 200 megapixels handheld. Like for my use case, for my style of work, I would absolutely use it.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see this as well because, you know, there are times when I was just doing some watch photography for an upcoming video coming, you know, and I want to get high resolution, really want to capture every detail, obviously use macro, but to go 177 megapixels would be absolutely awesome for stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a really capable camera, and I don't know what the price is going to be in Australia. Do you have your price points out there yet or no?
I think it was 5.5 to 6, somewhere in that category. I could look it up, but just talking about price, to me, like this is clearly Panasonic Lumix saying, look, we are trying to get into this market. We are trying to break into this space that, as I said before, is pretty crowded. We've got extraordinarily capable cameras from Canon, Sony, and Nikon in this space. And not only have they brought sort of, like, I would say they've brought more features than all of them put together, and the only caveat is probably that sensor side of things that you were talking about.
Yeah.
But for most use cases, it doesn't matter, like, because we don't whip pan. And this price point, I mean, how much cheaper is it than, like, Sony's closest product is twice the price. Nikon is only $200 more. Do you know what the R5 II is? Maybe it's around $4,000 or something like that US.
Yeah, it's about $4,500 US. So it's about $1,000 more than this. So I mean, you're still looking at a price point. I mean, again, those cameras are different. I don't want to sit there and say, is the Lumix S1R II going to be the same as those cameras because they have faster readout speeds? They are all almost sports and video hybrids if you look at them respectively. Whereas I think the Lumix is more, I would say, general lifestyle. You probably can do some fast action and some, a little bit of birding wildlife. You probably can get it away with it. But again, the readout speeds are not going to be as fast. But again, 95%.
Can I just jump in there? It does have a mechanical shutter. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It does. Yeah, 10 frames per second. Yeah, 10 frames per second.
So the reality is, you can mitigate rolling shutter just as long as you're happy with 10 frames a second. Which, of course, my state of the art, I think Nikon D4, a pro camera from 10 years ago, it shot at 12 frames a second, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And of course, professionals who shot sports and wildlife, they were able to make their careers at 12 frames a second. You know what I'm saying?
They could do it.
So maybe this is all a storm in a teacup, But Light Hunter has made a great point in the comments. He has said, the S1R sounds like a great camera, but and this might be a bit of a segue for us, but it's being released in the shadow of the brand new Sigma BF, and that's a really interesting camera, isn't it? The BF. I find it to be extraordinarily beautiful, but how is it from a real world? Let's get in the trenches. Let's use it. Let's shoot it. How long can you hold it for when it's actually cut out of? It's like an aluminum or aluminum brick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you're right actually. And this is the original. This is the FPL here. So this is the sort of the original brick from Sigma.
You've got one.
Yeah, I got one of these.
Totally jealous.
I'll tell you what, here's the funny thing about this camera, right? This is the 60 megapixel one. So there's the 24s of the FP, and the FPL is the larger resolution one. The colors out of this camera, Sigma's colors are unbelievable. This was talked about when they first came out, but again, it's been out for a number of years. Sigma's not updated the cameras. There's no buzz on YouTube about it. It's always about the newest and latest. But if you actually take this out and take photographs with it, the images are so sharp. I mean, I think it's because they have probably a thin layer of glass versus a thicker layer of glass over the sensor, so that also helps. Very similar to what Leica does. The color science is beautiful, and they've got those Foveon sort of colors inside of it as well. They get simulated a bit. Obviously, it's not Foveon, but it simulates it. And I got to tell you, in terms of color science, this is probably in the top 2 or 3 out there. We don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people don't mention it. But I mean, for those out there who are watching this video right now or will watch it that have a Sigma FP, FPL, the colors out of this are really, really good. And if the BF, what I understand, is still taking that color science and then bringing it to that camera. But, I got to hand it to Sigma. There was a lot of complaints about this. No mechanical shutter at all, right? It's just a box. Obviously this has got the EVF on the side of it, which you have to unscrew, and it's kind of cumbersome to do that. And it's got the grip on it, right? It's kind of like this very... it's a cool design, but it's interesting design. But Sigma, you got to hand it to them. They stuck to their guns. They said, you know what? We're just going to make something even more beautiful. Monoblock, one piece of aluminum, 7 hours to craft a camera. We're going to give you 24 megapixels, which seems to be the kind of the returning that everybody's doing 24 nowadays, regardless. But it keeps the price point down. Good image quality. And from what I understand from a friend of mine who was in Japan for the launch, said the autofocus is absolutely fantastic. He says it's leagues above this. So I'm excited, man. Silver or black, Matt? That's the question.
Oh, wow. Oh, geez. That's a tough question. Jay Blue has said in the comments, and I will answer that color because, that's very important. But Jay Blue has said, beautiful foolishness. And it reminds him of a product designed by Johnny Ive from Apple. And that's a good call. It does look like a very Apple-esque thing. And I think, Bobby, we can both admit that we're into the Apple aesthetic. And when I saw this camera, my reaction was, damn, it's so beautiful, and I just want one because it's just a beautiful piece of industrial design. And so ultimately, you know, where do you think the BF is aimed? Like, interestingly, we have the L-mount alliance, which of course is with Sigma, Lumix, and of course Leica. And of course, Leica is in this same sort of space, which is focused on beauty and aesthetics, minimalism. Like, you don't have a more minimalism camera. It feels to me that Sigma is basically making a similar sort of play. They're making just a beautiful minimalist camera. It doesn't have a hot shoe, doesn't even have a card slot. You can't even put a card in it. It's got internal memory. Is that the play? And is the price point right for that play? I suppose it doesn't matter, maybe.
You know, Sigma's been in this game for a while. You know, if you look at their older cameras, all of them are very unique designs. They think out of the box. I mean, all the way from the very beginning. I think the DPs and I don't have all the names of the cameras here, but I mean, they had a ton of cameras, and the designs were so out there. So I think their design language, I mean, from what I understand, it might be the same designer who designed the FP and previous cameras designed this as well. I think that we're in a market today where there's so many options out there and all great cameras, right? I mean, you're splitting hairs right now talking about specs to specs. The people want something that they enjoy taking a photograph with, regardless of price point or size or brand, that just makes photography or videography fun. And I think the BF, that hits that on the head, you know, they nail it. And I think the price point around 2,000 USD for a piece of like a monoblock of aluminum and beautiful, and then you get the silver lenses to go along with it. People will buy this just to have it, just to walk around and people go, it's a flex. It's a flex in the camera industry that doesn't cost you that much, but it performs well. And it's also got L-Log, so they are obviously working with Leica. You can tell what they've got L-Log inside of this as well. It's gonna be fun, man. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. As a matter of fact, I did on my threads yesterday, I put a little bit of a poll. Let me just look at the recent where we're standing with all that. But I did a poll on Threads about which camera they're most excited about, you know, and I listed it. And the Sigma BF is right now in the lead, 59%. The Zeiss Otus Lenses were at 29%. The Lumix S1R is third place. And I put the Sony 16 f1.8 because I don't think the 400-800 is going to be for a lot of people out there. No votes for the Sony as of yet. But again, 16 1.8 is a very specific lens. But the BF is out there, man. There's so many people excited about it, and I am too. And I think
Bobby, are you able to throw comments up on the screen?
Of course I can. Yeah.
Can you throw up Hassan's comment?
Yep,
I think it's a great comment. He not that one, the one before that one, which is the Sigma BF is a wonderfully risky product that I wish more OEMs would do. And I've got to agree with you. And of course, I think Fuji is getting a lot of mileage out of kind of doing this. I think we've seen it with the ZF, where that's, you know, a kind of, but they're both retro products. I don't see this as retro. I see this as very modern. And I have to say, I agree. Let's see some out of the box. And looking at the price point, I actually think for a beautiful artifact where you're not really, you're not buying it because you're trying to get state-of-the-art technology. You're buying it because it's a beautiful thing. 2,000 USD, I kind of feel like is reasonable. And of course, give it till the end of the year and the holiday season at the end of this year, and I reckon it might be anywhere between 10 and 20% off. Then I think it'll be a bit of a steal. And then the only issue is how many L lenses does anybody have, right? And of course, what's great about that is we're starting to see third-party L mount lenses now. We're starting to see some of the Chinese brands get into it, which I think, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was to get one, I would get those beautiful silver lenses.
You have to. But as a matter of fact, Sigma's smart. They made a silver camera with silver lenses. So if you put a black lens on it or another lens on it, they may perform well, but it is not going to look as good. I mean, look at this right here. No. Look at this.
Well, you might have, No, I'm with you, man. And you might have to buy the
brilliant marketing. Hats off to Sigma. They've literally sold like a camera and lens kit right there. Done.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Well, it's a beautiful thing. And what does everybody think in the comments? Please let us know. Is like, it might not be a camera that you actually want to purchase, but what do you think of it? Like Hassan has said, you know, this is a beautiful, risky thing to have done, and you know, where can the other camera manufacturers take cues from this for doing something a little bit interesting? Like, I've been a big proponent of the idea that Nikon should create, like, it's the Nikon SP. Is that what it is? That the old rangefinder camera?
Yeah.
I think they would sell squillions of them, whether it was fixed lenses or not. But it's a box, not, you know, it's similar to this, and its styling is timeless.
Yeah, it's rangefinder.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, they should
There
actually.
you go.
I mean, I would love for Nikon to actually make something like that. You know, I mean, dive into the, you know, the well of great camera designs that they've had over the years. You know, I think the S3 you could go into, you could get the SP, and really have some fun with it. You know what I mean? And make it a fixed lens. It's fine. You know what I mean? I think there is a market for that. I mean, the Q3, the Q2, the Q, for example, have done very, very well with that. The X100 from Fujifilm, awesome cameras, and people are happy with it. You can adapt. You can crop in now with resolutions. You can maximize these things. So yeah, it's going to be very, very fun.
As Mozman says, it's a beautiful camera, but, you know, would he ever actually pick it up and shoot it? And look, that's the $1 million question. I could have seen a time in my life where I was a bit younger than I am now, and going out a bit more and having a bit more fun and going to a few more bars and living that sort of life that I used to live. And I would actually quite enjoy this as my social camera. Absolutely. Yep. And I used to have cameras that were, like, because I was a professional photographer at that same time as partying, I'm still a professional photographer, but I wouldn't take my D4 to a party, right? So I'd have a little camera that I would take to a party. And,
you wouldn't bring the D4, Matt? Come on, bring the D4.
Yeah, just in case I need to hit somebody over the head with it because they've stolen something. Yeah, no. So this to me would actually fit that category, and you know, I do think it's beautiful. Yeah. Very good, Bobby. Well, Sigma did more. Like, this is I don't understand what's happened this week. So many things have happened. Sigma did more than release a beautiful new camera. They also released, what was it? At least two lenses, the 300 to 600 f4 and the 16 to 300 3.5 to 6.7. Yeah. Both really interesting lenses. That zoom, it looks like a bazooka. It's absolutely enormous. Of course, we haven't used it, but wow, what a lens. And it looks like a super high quality lens.
Yeah, it's a massive lens. I'll tell you why right now. And, you know, for the price point, I think it's around 6,000 USD. So when you look at that, you're looking at something really affordable in a space like that. But you are going to have to go to the gym. I think it does come with a gym membership, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, but it's beautiful. I have not seen a white lens from Sigma like this. I've never seen it. From what I understand, they always made black. So they're really standing out. But the problem I'm wondering about this is that, like, for example, if you get it for the Sony E-mount, now Sony, they don't, for third-party manufacturers, they don't allow them to, you know, maximize the full potential of the lenses. I think some of them are getting updates, like from Tamron, respectively, if you will have the A9 III, or if you have fast readout cameras, or, you know, higher frame rates to maximize that. So I'm wondering, for this lens, did Sigma work out something with Sony, for example, to do that? Now with the L-mount Alliance, this lens is going to pair perfectly with, say, the S1R II. Right? You know, 40 frames per second, 10 frames mechanical shutter. You know what I mean? You're going to get, you know, and then with the Lumix, you've got the animal tracking now, all that stuff. So that's going to be some good stuff. Let's take a look at that lens here real quick. Let me see if I can pull that up.
And I just while you're doing that, I just wanted to mention Roscoe's comment. Does anyone think that we will see Viltrox lab lenses this year? The 35, the 50, the 85, 1.2 on Z mount, or is this simply a pipe dream? Roscoe, I don't know exactly, but I will say this. Have a look at this on my screen here, Bobby.
Oh, look at that. Ooh, hello. Hello. What is that?
What is that?
What is that, Matt? What is that?
It's actually the best quality coffee mug thing I've ever had. Like, it's so nice.
Who's that? Wow. Why? That's very nice of them to send that to you. Wow.
Yes, it is.
You've got a lot of love from Viltrox.
I think Viltrox are sending us a message here, Bobby, aren't they?
They're sending you a message, that's for sure. I never got a coffee mug.
Well, next episode I'll do something else as well. But anyway, I think to be serious about your question, Roscoe, I think we're hearing that the 35 E mount is very close. The 35 1.2 E mount is close, and the 135 lab lens, I think there's maybe something like a 6 month or a 3 month. When did the E135 come out, Bobby? Was that like November or something?
I think so. It was announced in November, but they had some hiccups with it. I think there were some issues
Yeah.
with the lens when it first launched, the first batch, and so they held it back, fixed it. They sent it out. When I got it, the firmware was a bit buggy on it, so the autofocus was really out of whack. But I contacted them. They said, look, just do a firmware update, which, by the way, you have to do through the phone for the lens, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I've never done that before. I was like, really? You sync it to the phone via Bluetooth for a lens? I mean, you got to give Viltrox some credit. That's some pretty cool tech, right? Usually it's the old school, plug the SD card into the computer, drop in the file, go and put it onto the camera, update it that way. But there's like, no, you just connect it via Bluetooth and just update it that way. And it works a lot better. So, yeah.
Yeah, so my thinking is maybe there's something like a 3 to 6 month lag time between E mount and Z mount. So if we do see a 35mm 1.2, I think it was going to happen sometime this month or within the next days or weeks. Then I reckon we might see at least one of those, Roscoe, this year. At least one of the 35 1.2 lab lenses for Z mount. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows? But I do have a nice mug, but that's all I actually know. So back to, we're talking about Sigma, and then of course that 16 to 300. That's an APS-C lens, which has the most ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, look at that 300 to 600. That's crazy. It looks beautiful.
It's beautiful, right?
Sigma really know what they're doing when it comes to industrial design. Absolutely gorgeous, no question of it.
Where's that APS-C lens at here? I think it's
so 16 to 300 is a 24 to 450 field of view equivalent. That is just a bananas lens, totally bananas to have just in one lens like that. Look, that's another great thing that's come out this week. Also, we've had Sony, and someone had a question about the Sony one. So Jay, now's the time to ask your Sony question. The 400 to 800, which at 800 is an f8. This is obviously an affordable lens designed for birders, is my guess, sort of chasing that space that Canon's been eking out for themselves, making long lenses that are dark lenses that are super affordable.
Yeah.
You're a bit closer to Sony than I am, Bobby. What's your thoughts around this lens?
I mean, obviously it's a more budget-friendly lens. It is to compete with that, I think, the 200 to 800 from Canon, so to speak. I've seen some mixed reviews online. You know what I mean? I was watching Ted Forbes' review, Art of Photography. And
he was almost laughing. That was...
Yeah, I think they might have sent him I think he might have got a bit of a dud, it sounded like. Because I think
he mentioned that.
Yeah, because I think Jared Pullen he had some really good words to say about the lens as well, and other reviewers too. So that's unfortunate. And... but I mean, a lot of times these products are getting out there. They're rushed out to get some content made on them, and there might have been no QC on this version of it. Who knows? But I think it's a very good thing. I think, of course, f8 is a tricky aperture, but to keep the cost down, you have to be around that range. Otherwise, it goes up really, really fast. But if you're shooting in bright daylight, like I've done these kind of lenses before. I've gone to the zoo here in Singapore because we don't have a lot of like natural wildlife and things like that outdoors. I mean, you get birds, but it can be a bit challenging to find them as and when. So, and for this, the sake of time, I go to the zoo. But if you're in bright daylight, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 11 to 2, thereabouts, the skies are pretty clear. F8's fine. You're still going to get some great depth of field, depending on how far your subject is from the background. It works out great. I mean, I remember those Canons, I think it was the F11 lenses. What was it, 800 or 11? I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Those lenses, small, compact, but yet the image quality out of them were really, really good. Very good. And it was F11. And I was worried that the ISO would creep up, but sure enough, when I was outdoors shooting with it, I'm like, okay, not bad at all. So
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad they got I'm glad they did well because it's a fixed focal length and it's a fixed aperture, so there wasn't a lot going on in those lenses.
You had one chance.
You need to get something right, and if the lens is sharp, then well done. I mean, at f11, you've got anyway. I just wanted to respond to Roscoe. So Roscoe, you're asking the question as to whether you should get the Nikon 35 or the and look what arrived for me. I haven't opened it. I haven't
it's Christmas time. It's not even Christmas, but it's Christmas in Australia. Who knows? You guys are a little bit backwards back there.
I thought I'd open this on camera. And there it is. My copy's arrived. So Roscoe, I don't know. This is probably one of the most. I thought the 50mm 1.2 was my absolute happy place. I've had that lens for 3 or 4 years. And then, of course, I used the pre-production version of this to make all the videos, and it may have become this. So, look, it's something that we'll talk about in the future. This is an astonishing lens. I'll have another video coming on about me unboxing this later. But
Matt, why?
Yeah, beautiful lens.
Here. It's here.
I know.
Look at that.
Can I hug it?
You can hug it.
Give it a hug.
You can give it a hug. That is a gorgeous
there it
lens.
is.
Yeah, I really enjoyed using that lens when I had it. I only had it for a few days here because I think everybody getting their hands to try it out and test it out. You know, and the power zoom as well. The power zoom is a great lens.
Yes,
great lens.
There's so many cool things going on, and again, why is it that these companies are releasing multiple things at once? Nikon's done it, Sigma's done it, Sony also did it, and they've got this 16 1.8 and. Yeah. Look, I haven't had much time to catch up on how good or bad that is, but it's a lens. It looks like a good looking lens and a lens that's going to suit probably content creators and landscape photographers. Yeah,
exactly. And the price point, when these G lenses, they're really attractive prices to come out.
It's a G. It's not a GM. It's a G. Okay.
Yeah, it's a G lens. Both of the lenses are Gs, so they're more attractive on the price point. And one thing I can say about Sony is their G lenses or GM lenses. They're both. They all perform relatively well. You know what I mean? Optically, they're good. And most people, unless you're pixel peeping like we do on YouTube and going in 400% and talking about bokeh and fall off and a little bit of green and purple fringing, nobody's going to notice the difference on your Instagram or on your Facebook page. They're just not going to notice what lens you shoot with. So, I mean, it's shocking, but it's the truth, So save your money, get the glass that works for your budget, and just worry about composition, lighting, and all that stuff, and that's the key to it all, right?
Absolutely. Now, Jay Blue has asked a question. Sony 400 to 800, mixed reviews, yes. Steve Perry and Jan Wagner liked it, but will it decrease sales of the 200 to 600? Look, that's a really good question. In this day and age, the difference between 600 and 800 from actually how it impacts the actual frame is not that much. I don't know off the top of my head, the price difference between the 200 to 600. Do you? Do you know, Bobby? They're both around $3,000 to $4,000, I think, USD. Yeah. Hello, fellow citizen. A love heart back to you. Good to see you. Look, I think the f-stops on the 200 to 600 are way better, aren't they?
Yeah, they are better. They are better.
Look, personally, I would choose the 200 to 600. One, it's more range, and two, being able to be 50% wider on the wide edge when you're doing wildlife and birds and whatever might be moving, and you quickly want to get that wider frame. Yeah. I think 200 is way more versatile than 400. But hey, Sony has a very mature range of lenses, and I suppose you might get to the point where you're like, we've got to think of some more unique lenses, specific use case lenses, so that we can actually keep selling stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there's something like 70 to 80 Sony E-mount lenses at this stage, so it's a pretty mature product line. Although I don't think they've done tilt shift lenses yet, and maybe they never will. Does anybody know? Is Sony going to go tilt shift?
Tilt shift, but is there a huge market for it nowadays? That's what I'm wondering.
Nope.
Because now with all the software corrections, do you need it that much?
Nope. Well, I can tell you because I own two tilt shift lenses, the 85 and the 24. If you're doing architectural and you're trying to correct a building that's really bent, there's only so far you can go in post, and also you lose a lot of resolution when you're pushing those files hard. Like if you're trying to straighten this, you lose a lot of your file. So, but no, you're right. How many are they going to sell? 12? No idea. I mean, I think, is Canon the only company that's gotten a mirrorless? Have they got a mirrorless tilt shift? They might have got.
Canon?
Maybe I'm making that up.
They don't have a mirrorless tilt shift yet. No, they don't.
But they do have a 3D lens, and that thing's scary.
I tried that.
Oh,
lens. Yeah. But the hard part about it is, how do you edit it? Because it was interesting. The funny thing, Canon sent me the lens, the one that they announced with the at WWDC last year, right? And they were shocked by it. I mean, even internally, they didn't know about this. And so they sent me the lens. I tried it out. It's for APS-C only. It's very hard to focus because you're getting two circles in your viewfinder like this, and they're very tiny. So it's like you're looking at this, you're like, what's in focus, what's not? I mean, you have to use focus peaking because it's kind of like a manual focus deal. But then when you bring it in, they said only Premiere works with these files. But I'm thinking, but if Apple announced it at WWDC, you think Final Cut would work with it. Then I guess it does, but I don't know how to do it yet. So I still have the files on my computer, and I'm waiting to figure out how to work this so I can actually make the video. It's kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting review.
That would work with your Vision Pro goggles, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what I wanted to do. So I wanted to actually make this video for the Vision Pro, and it'd be kind of a cool thing to show, okay, this is the Canon lens for Vision Pro, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it didn't necessarily work out for me that way. So the footage is still on my hard drive, and one day I will get to it for sure.
Now, Bobby, the world doesn't stop spinning, and again, this is the busiest week ever in photography history, because not only has all of those companies released multiple products, but also Zeiss Otus, after being quiet for 6 or 7 years, I think it is, released 2 lenses, and they are the Zeiss Otus ML. Can anyone guess what ML stands for? Yes, you're right, it is mirrorless. And they've got a 50 and an 85 lenses for E, RF, and for Z mount.
Yeah.
And and they're 1.4 lenses, 50 and 85. They've been in a few people's hands. They're very expensive, and some of the question marks around those lenses are, why would you actually pay more for a manual lens when you can get really brilliant autofocus lenses like the one I just showed, the 35 1.2? Bobby, what's going on here with Zeiss? They're playing the game that they played 7 years ago. Is it still relevant in 2025?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Sorry, I gave you the hard question.
No, I mean, I think they're with, there's going to be fans no matter what, and there's going to be a legion of users out there that have the original line of Otus lenses, and they loved them, but obviously adapting them was quite difficult, right? And they're very, very large lenses. These are smaller, more compact. And I think there may be a market for it, but I don't know if the market is as big as it once was. Because back in the day, those lenses were designed to sort of replicate medium format. I mean, it was Zeiss saying, no holds barred. We don't care about price. We don't care about what it costs. We want to make the best lens we possibly can without any sort of in-camera correction, because the DSLRs back in the day didn't have that, right? Not like it has in mirrorless cameras today. So with all the in-camera corrections going on from all the camera companies on top of fantastic optics, you're almost getting Otus quality lenses out of a lot of the newer lenses out there already. So does the Otus still hold its own? I don't know. I would love to try these to find out, but I would say probably the market will be more niche than it was before, I think. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, again, sometimes with these products, we can sit here, from, 100 feet away and just talk about these and give our guesstimation on what we think is going to work or not. But it's up to the user. And if there is a case where the people just want to go more manual focus with their Sony camera, for example, and I don't know, that's the question, why? Because it's such good autofocus now, why would you want to go manual focus on that? But I mean, if the lens delivers something that you just don't get out of a Sony lens, or what other mounts are they doing? Sony and what else?
RF and Z.
Are they doing it? RF and Z? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they do, I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out. I would love to try it and see, but I really don't know. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I listen to Ted Forbes. I love Ted,
Yeah, me
the art
too.
of photography. He is
That's
one of the
awesome.
OGs in this camera space. And it's been really interesting to see him get these new Sony products in the hands. And he came out and said, I'm usually normally very positive about Sony. But anyway,
Oh
and
yeah,
the reason I'm saying that is I think Ted is someone that we can have a lot of faith and trust in. And
yeah,
I was surprised when he was a little, like he said, they're beautiful lenses, but he was a little bit negative about, well, I just don't think that we're living in the same world that we were in the DSLR era, where these lenses were clearly head and shoulders optically above a lot of what was around at the time.
yeah.
Whereas today, he's not really seeing that head and shoulders difference.
Mm.
So yeah, look, I don't know. I don't want to be negative about it, but there's a good chance there's something that we're missing with these lenses because they're brand new and people haven't fully yet had a chance to push them to every use case that they might be aimed at. Because Zeiss is an enormous part of our community. They make lenses for people like Sony. They've got an astonishing brand name. So, I reckon there's still something there that we haven't yet seen, that we don't understand about these lenses yet. So it's probably a bit early to say, but gosh, like the BF, they're beautiful artifacts. Like I always looked at those Otuses of days gone by and Jesus went, wow, they are really beautiful lenses, but they were so expensive. Like in this country, it's like $5 or $6 grand or something for a manual focus prime.
Yeah. I mean, I reviewed them when I first started into the whole YouTube space with photography. I was over at Tech 360 and I got a hold of a few of them. And the last one I did was the 100 1.4. And I think I reviewed it on the Z7, if I'm not mistaken. And my thought process was, I don't know why this lens was made for DSLR, because it'd be almost impossible to focus at 1.4 at 100 millimeters on an optical viewfinder, manual focus on top of that. It was so difficult to do that you almost needed an EVF to punch in, magnify to make that happen. It would have been nice if these came in with autofocusing motors inside of it. I think that would have really helped. Being that it's manual focus in 2025 for a lens like this, I don't know. But I'm excited to try them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know who our distributor is here in Singapore, because Zeiss has not had a lot of luck here. I think a lot of the older distributors sold everything. So, I mean, who knows? It may be one of those situations where you have to buy overseas from Japan or another country and then import it in and see how it is. But I do wish it had autofocus in 2025. That's the one thing I feel is missing. But that's just me, 100 feet away, sitting at my desk, being a critic.
Exactly. What do we know? It's easy to sit here in our chairs and throw rocks. And we're the nice guys. Imagine if we weren't. Now, everybody, we'd love to hear any questions. We know we're flying a bit loose. This is the first time Bobby and I have done this live thing before. And really, this episode is about the latest news. And in future episodes, we might drill into one specific product or one specific technique or whatever. But if you have any questions about what we're doing or comments about what we might do in the future, we certainly, I mean, Bobby and I, the interesting thing about this to us is Bobby and I talk behind the scenes all the time, and we're basically nerding out about the same sort of stuff we're nerding out about here. So we thought this would be just a great place where we could all get together and talk about any aspect of photography. So it doesn't just have to be about gear, which is what we're talking about right now. That's kind of low-hanging fruit. This happens to have been a really big week, so I think it's kind of worthwhile talking about everything that's going on. But if you have any questions below, hit us up with a QQQ. Don't forget to hit the like button. And, of course, if you're not subscribed to Bobby's channel or my channel, subscribe to both of us. And as a bit of housekeeping, the idea is that we're going to do 1 week on Bobby's channel and 1 week on my channel, and we're going to alternate the live streams between that. So that's the plan. Wish us the very best of luck. And I suppose we'll try and land on a... Bobby and I were talking about the fact that Friday, the end of the week, makes sense, because of product launches and so on. So it might be a similar time slot, but you can let us know. Everyone's going to want a different time slot, so maybe we can't accommodate.
I wouldn't mind something a little bit later. It's 6:30 a.m. here. I was like,
Bobby,
okay.
That was your call.
It was my call. I was thinking about it because I'm thinking, okay, what time should we do this, right? And
yeah.
because you're 3 hours ahead of me, so when it's 6:30 my time, I mean, we're a day ahead for our American friends out there, right? So it's Friday morning here. You're Friday morning as well, but I think now it's about 10:30 a.m. your time, right? And it's
That's right.
7:30 my time. But yeah, we'll figure out a time. We'll work this out. But here, there's a comment here from Roscoe T. Otus were a benchmark, but the color fringing, even on their alleged Oppo, is a bit suspect on petapixel. And, I think this is where, these might not be the same Otus lenses in terms of the optical build quality of yesteryear. Now, I know Zeiss, majority of it's made from Cosina now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's made in Germany like it was once before for these lenses. I'm not too sure. So that's a good, I did see that video as well. And obviously these lenses aren't going to be probably as perfect as the original ones, respectively. So they're smaller. And when you make smaller lenses, you're going to have to sacrifice something in terms of optics to maintain a size. And that was one of the biggest complaints with the Otus originally, was they were so big and so heavy. I mean, it's kind of like if you ever get a chance to try that Lab series, Matt, that 135 that everybody's talking about. If you ever get a chance to try that, you know what I mean. It's kind of it's got some size to it. Yeah, I know you just got the coffee mug. So they sent you that. Maybe it's with the same weight as the 135. Who knows? We'll find out. Probably can't say anything at all. Oh jeez, so much for NDA.
Yeah, no, those LED lenses, they're going to be fun. Bobby's going to keep laughing, so I've got to throw to something else. And of course, Nikon did new firmware updates. That's the next thing I had on my list.
Yeah, they did, right? They did.
Out of nowhere, we got a Z6 III and a Z8 firmware update, which was mainly video focused, a few bug fixes here and there, but brings shutter angle, better control of histograms and waveforms, and so on. I just can't believe how all of these manufacturers are just getting so much stuff out at the moment. I think the only company that's been quiet this week is Canon. What does anybody want from Canon next?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Canon.
We had a QQQ from Light Hunter. We'll go back to Canon in a second. Bobby, you can only choose 2 DG lenses to pair with the BF. Do you go the 35-65? The 45-90 is the only one I haven't shot before. What are you doing, Bobby? Which way are you going to go with your BF? Maybe we can get a good deal for 2. Let me know if you decide to buy one. All right. Anyway, off you go.
Okay. I've tried all these I series lenses, these DG I series lenses, right? And I say the 65 is fantastic. It is up there with some of the best prime f2 lenses I've tried, and I would say it performs very similarly to what Leica's done with the SL50 Oppo. It's very similar in many ways. It's an awesome lens. So that's in the box for sure. All right. The 45 Contemporary, which is the 2.8, was an older lens for this line, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we should go back to the Sigma side and take a look here what we got. See what they've got, if they've got this here, because they don't put it as I series, but they call it I series. It's a bit call it Contemporary. It is. Let me take a look here real quick. You got the 24. You got the 24 one. Yeah, it's 35. 35 f2 is a great lens. That's a solid lens. Yeah, 45 2.8 is an older lens. The optics on that one probably aren't at the same level as the 35, the 65 respectively. I probably would do 35 and 65, but then again, I like longer telephoto lengths, so I probably even do the 90. You know what I mean? But these I series lenses if you've never shot with them, they're a work of art. They're beautifully made. I would say they're even better made than the art lenses in terms of the outside of the lens, right? The design of it, because they're metal, well constructed. The hood's metal, but the optics are gorgeous, man. Have you tried them before?
No, I have not, and it looks like you're making me kind of go, I'm missing out here. I've got no idea what's going on. But I can see in the comments that there's a lot of people excited about these lenses that you're talking about. We've got C. Rankin. He loves, well, I'm guessing it's, I can't quite see the size of that thumbnail. He loves the 65 f2.
65 is gorgeous.
And he's got an FP, so yay. I almost bought one of those a few years ago. There's the FP there. We should start an FP club, I reckon, because that would be quite an exclusive club, I think. And Hassan Well, he's going to go to heaven with his 65. That is how much he loves his 65. Hassan, tell us more about what your love of the 65. I love this. So, what are we talking here? They're better than Leica lenses? They're like
no. I mean,
saying,
I was saying they're at that level. They're the 65 for me. When I put it with the Leica, because I mean, look, you never tried the Leica SL lenses, have you? You haven't tried the 35 and this 50 and the 75/9. I use these as a benchmark, and I think for a lot of people who've tried these in the L mount, these Oppo lenses that Leica makes, I mean, they are unbelievable. The 35 f2, Matt, if you ever get to try this, it's almost, and I said in my video with the SL3S, it's almost like you're cheating. This lens it is so sharp, so well corrected, but it's got this pop at f2. It doesn't feel like an f2. It feels like a 1.4. It's designed to be shot at f2. It is such a gorgeous lens. And so I use that as sort of like my new Otus benchmark, so to speak, when I compare lenses. And these I series lenses from Sigma do come close in many ways. Are they better? No. I mean, it's a different ball game, different price point, but they are very, very good lenses.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Fellow citizen, look, I'm with you. I'd probably get a BF as my party camera, as I was saying before. Yeah. It's 4,000. It's 4,000 Australian. Well, we just have to wait till those end of season sales come on, and it's closer to 3,000. Because I'm slowly collecting some L mount lenses. Bobby, how many L mount lenses do you have? You got a couple?
I've got a few. He's
got a lot.
The shelf's got a lot of L mount back there, but
cool.
Caffeinated cameras. Brandon Talbot says I got the 20 and 65. They're fantastic as well. By the way, do check out Brandon's channel as well. He came out with an awesome. You can appreciate this, Matt, because you shot with the Hasselblad back in the day, right? The medium format.
I have. Yes. Still got it.
He did an H6D video. Completely blew up. Yeah. I mean,
nice.
And it's unbelievable. So. And he shot with video as well with that thing. Video
my Lord.
Megapixel. I know. But it looks good too.
Well, I remember the video, and that was like really weird because it's such high megapixels, but it was still only like HD or I don't even think it was 4K.
I think was it 4K? Yeah, I think it's 4K.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, check it out. But so fellow citizen said, I-series are contemporary, not art. Yes and no. So here's the thing with that fellow citizen. They are categories as contemporary, but they're art glass and a contemporary body. So they are a hybrid of art and contemporary. I think the weather sealing may not be as much as an art lens or a sports lens, but they do have art glass in them. This is what I've learned using the lenses. So yeah, this is they're quite unique. But yeah, they call them I-series, but yet there's no I on the box. It's kind of like their code name for it. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting.
I love Craig C's point, and hello and welcome, Craig. Great to have you here. He's basically saying you can't complain about the ZF ergonomics anymore now that we've got the BF. Fair call. Although I suspect we'll probably get adapters for the BF cages and thumb grips like the Leica. Although there's no hot shoe to put that Leica thumb grip in. It's amazing. You can't do anything. It's so minimal.
I mean, this modular box, all those ports are gone, right?
Yeah,
they're all gone on the BF. So I think they're just saying, look, this is the camera. This is what it is. You're going to like it or not. Do I wish there was an EVF? Yeah. I kind of wish there was an EVF. I know there's a trend now, and I think this is because obviously the new era of photography with phones and all that kind of stuff. We just use our screens. But when you have a camera body, you just kind of, I mean, for me, I'm more traditionalist. I like an EVF, but I'm going to try it. You know what I mean? And someone will make something for it. Who knows?
Well, there was one market that, and I was thinking about this and I forgot to mention it before, that I can see the BF actually appealing to people who, shoot on their phone, and they do want actually a standout artifact, a standout piece that they can, I can imagine it being on the red carpet with, superstars or musicians where they're walking down with this kind of bling, but it's also a really beautiful camera that, has autofocus and has 24 megapixels. It still actually shoots beautiful images.
No.
But it looks like a piece of art. It looks like a piece of jewelry. I would argue even more so than what Leica does, because they still look like cameras. This thing looks like something else. It looks like a spaceship. It's unbelievable.
Well, I think the closest thing that Leica ever made was the one that Johnny Ive designed, or the Zagato.
Did he design one?
He designed one and went up for auction.
That.
Oh, it's. I mean, let me find that.
Can you find it? I want to see it, Bobby. Show the audience. People,
Johnny
do you have any
Ive,
questions while Bobby's
Leica.
finding that crazy Leica camera? And we're coming up towards the 1 hour mark, so we'll probably be here for how much longer, Bobby? Another 10, 15 minutes. So if there's any questions, any thoughts you want to throw at us.
Yeah, I think
the other thing I wanted to talk about that was released, because this is such a massive week of releases, and there are a few things that we haven't talked about, but there's just so much stuff, is the fact that Ronin, and now a lot of people won't be into gimbals, but Ronin have put out the 4RS Mini, which to me looks like an absolutely, oh wow, look at that. Sorry. Anyway, the gimbal looks amazing. That looks extraordinary. I still like the BF more. Sorry.
Wait a second. I'm going to tease you with one more camera. Give me a second. You go on about this gimbal.
Right.
You go.
All right. Yeah, I'll go on about the gimbal. If you're into gimbals, I think I do genuinely believe this is DJI's best gimbal. Has a maximum payload of 2 kilograms. Probably my single favorite feature for content creators is it's now got a little sensor that you can plug on the side of it, which will actually track you. So you can be shooting on your 35mm camera, whatever camera that you've got, and the gimbal will actually track you as you walk around a room. You might be doing some sort of live stream, or whatever you're doing. And for us content creators, we spend a lot of our time working on our own. This is amazing. Now, what have we got here, Bobby? This is the M10 Edition Zagato. Whoa.
Yeah, this is the closest thing to the BF that I've seen.
I think the BF still wins, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've held this camera in my hand. It's all made of metal. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I don't know what the value of this camera is now. I mean, it's very hard to come by, but it comes with a special lens as well. As you can see, the Zagato is heavily branded on the front element of the lens. But yeah.
Bobby, can you remind us all what the spec of the M10 was? Is that like a 24 megapixel or a 40?
Yeah. Only the M10R came in at 40 megapixel, but the M10 was 24.
Cool.
Pop up here.
So when was that released? Are we saying that's 5 years ago? How long ago did that camera come out? The one you're actually looking at there.
Let me see here. Let me go to tech specs here. Pop this by here.
It doesn't matter. I never noticed it coming out.
Yeah, it was so limited that. Gosh, I don't even know. Let me see if it's
Mozman, what are you saying about Olympus there?
2015. Was it 2015 or no?
Oh, that long ago. Okay, so 10 years ago.
Oh, by the way, just to go back to the Hasselblad real quick, Brandon said that the H6D shoots 4K raw internal on that.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
wow.
crazy. Let me see. We go back here.
I
was going for 25K now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So it's a collectible. And I wonder if the BF could actually fit in that category. I wonder if they'd been so smart to say, we're only going to make 10,000 black, 10,000 silver, and then that's it. They might.
You know what?
Matt?
They would have been sold out.
Okay, Bobby, let's order four, okay?
They would have been sold out immediately on that one. That would have been that would have been something. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so Craig C's asking, will Canon release a retro?
They should.
Look, they should, basically. It's working for Fuji. I mean, the X105, the X106 bananas sales, and these are fixed lens cameras.
Yeah. I come with an F1N. I would do an F1N. Why not do a kind of a bring back the F1, which is a great camera. I tried that out. I had one for a bit. Almost decided to purchase it, but yeah, beautiful camera. They should.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different exciting things going on. Bobby, is there anything else you'd like to talk about in our inaugural live stream edition of the BAM Pod, which is the full official name of what we're doing here? That is the Bobby and Matt podcast. That's what it stands for. Yep. This thing is going to be bigger than Ben-Hur. Just give us some time. Just give us some time. And by this time next year, we're going to be roaming globally, doing live streams from your very city. That's the plan. We just need a sponsor. Who's going to sponsor us, Bobby?
At our first episode here with, the We'll find out. We'll take it one step at a time. But
one step at a time, one baby step at a time. Yeah. You got to dream, man. You got to dream big. You know.
You got to dream big. You know, we can talk cameras and be the Joe Rogan of that stuff. No, I mean, it's great to do this, Matt, with you. Honestly, it's been an honor to do this because we chat so much offline on WhatsApp, and we just for everybody to kind of get an idea how we connected. I think you reached out to me last year, was it right? You were coming to Singapore. And
actually, I wasn't going to correct you, but it was actually 2023. Would you believe?
Oh,
Time flies, man. Yeah. Shit. So it was October. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. You reached out, and it was. I mean, I watched your videos in the past. I was a big fan, and you reached out, and we met up, and we just connected. Then we shot a video in around Chinatown and stuff like that. And
that was so great, and I actually went back and watched that video just randomly a few weeks ago. And I was like, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
So we've been keeping in contact ever since.
Yeah, very good. Well, are there any more QQQs? Any more thoughts? Any more products that anyone like? Oh, I forgot to mention that Mozman. Thank you very much, Mozman. Mentioned that Laowa has got a tilt shift lens out for Z mount. So there you go. If you want, and the beauty of tilt shift is they are always, and I suspect will always be, fully manual lenses. So the idea of a third party creating a tilt shift lens is totally fine. And Laowa are a great lens manufacturer. So thank you, Moz, for pointing that out and reminding us. Because I think...
What's that?
Sorry, go on.
No, what are you saying? What are you saying?
I've lost my train of thought. That's
about
okay,
the whole thing about the Laowa lenses and everything. Well, they actually made a tilt shift lens that tilted in one direction, which I actually have over there on my shelf somewhere, quite a long time ago. So, is the new tilt shift? There's two of them. Yeah, okay. He's saying there's a 55 and 100 millimeter tilt shift, and these are new, Moz. They've just I was trying to Google it whilst we were talking. I couldn't find them. And are they tilting and shifting, or are they just a tilt? Because the original one just tilted in or shifted in one direction, not on two axes. But great to see we have so many of those things. Fellow citizen, please ask CR Kennedy to lend you a Sigma BF, Matt. And likewise, yes, I totally agree with you. And if you know anyone at CR Kennedy, because I have actually written to them in the past to get some Sigma love, and well, there has been no love, so we need to apply more pressure. That's the local distributor here of Sigma, Bobby CR Kennedy. So we'll. What did you say about my sister? What do you say? I don't know. What are you saying there, fellow citizen? I don't know. You got a question about the GFX from fellow citizen as well. You use the GFX. Any word on a medium format X100? Ooh.
Well, they're rumors, aren't there, Bobby?
Yeah, rumors.
There are rumors. So I've definitely read rumors about it. It would make a lot of sense. I would love to see basically any manufacturer. One of the biggest videos I've ever made on my channel was suggesting that the Z mount is large enough to have a small medium format sensor in it.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to see Nikon do it, but GFX already exists, and the idea of making a compact GFX, sure, why not? I mean, they have so much success with their X100 series, sell so many of them they can't keep up. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens in that space.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, just to pop on real quick, since we're talking about that. Let's go to Fuji rumors.
And, the latest rumors.
Yeah, they're saying more than just a camera for 5K. Here's what you get. Will cost about 5K USD. High quality strap, a filter adapter, filter square lens hood. And then this is what they're saying now on that. It'll be 100 megapixels, no IBIS, 35 f4, coming in black and silver. I mean, sounds interesting. Could be a very interesting market.
Do they talk about how far away it is?
No.
I mean, it's a rumor, so who knows?
Yeah, it's a rumor. You never know with these things, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing with these rumors, if they're coming out soon, you're probably looking at probably a month or 2 months, maybe. Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Fellow citizens, OMFG, we all know what that translates to. Expect 6-month reply time for emails from CR Kennedy. Okay. I reckon I did it a year ago, so maybe I'm on the double time version of it. But yeah, I'll hit him up again. you just never know. Or maybe I'll just visit. I have been, because I own a Hasselblad, I have been there for them to do a repair on my Hasselblad probably about 5 years ago. So, because they also distribute Hasselblad, or used to anyway, in this country. So maybe I should go there under the guise of, I need a new Hasselblad now. Can you lend me some Sigma stuff? Anyway, it's very interesting. All right, everybody. Well, is this the end, my friend?
This is it, Matt.
Beautiful
this is it.
end.
This is it, Matt. You know, I mean, it's we've done about an hour, 15 minutes on this, and it's been a great ride. For this,
wow.
It's our second, but our first kind of in this format right now, this live stream format we've got going on here. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for it. And guys, give your feedback to us. Let us know in the comment section below what you like, what we can improve on, things like that. Obviously, this is a first foray. We're working with new software I never really worked with before, so I'm kind of dancing around Ecamm a little bit and trying to get this dialed in. But we'll be back next week on Matt's channel to do more of this and answer your questions, have some fun. And who knows what the news is going to be? But you know what? Even if there's not news, we're going to talk about photography. We're going to talk about creating stuff. We're going to talk about maximizing your potential and your gear. It's going to be a big community of love and support and all that great stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, and for those that are watching on, playback, please let us know in the comments if any topics that you'd like us to talk about, or send us an email, or hit us up in the comments of any video. We're basically open to anything. Yeah, cool. All right, well, if that's it, if there's no more QQs, thank you, Jay Blue. If there's no more QQQs in the comments, then I suppose we'll say farewell from sunny Melbourne.
And Singapore.
And farewell from sunny. Sunny every day. There's always a thunderstorm around lunchtime for an hour and a half, and then it's sunny again.
Know that one all too well. All right, guys, take care. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And thank you so much for your comments. Please do like, and we look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll start to iron out the time frame around everything. All right, everybody, take care.
Bye-bye.